Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a recap of our first 2 weeks of the 2024-2025 school year. My name is Morgan here at the Life of Tillmans. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been here before, welcome back. We did it. We started school July the 15th. If you have not seen my summer recap video, make sure that you check it out. It's down in the description, and I'll link it at the end of this video as well to kind of put the two pieces of the videos together for you guys. But I'll be honest, we were ready. We had had such a busy June with everything that had gone on, and then the beginning of our July was really busy as well. We were ready to get started. I will say, this first 2 weeks is not the standard for our year, you guys. This is a time for us to really kind of get back into the groove of it. I say that reconditioning and saying, okay, we're going to be working on these things every day. We're going to be consistent with those things. This is also a time for us to take a look at a schedule or a daily flow and see what's going to work for us. And then getting back into the groove of things, we stair step into our curriculum. So I did not start us with everything that we're going to be using for the school year. We only did all of the ELA components along with math, and then our morning time, which is like our Bible and reading, that never changes. Even when we're out of school, we still do those things. So it's just adding those components in there. We have a lot of new ELA components for both of my girls. And so we're really trying to just make sure that we get those pieces to fit. So I say that's not the standard because this is like a figure out what works. How do you put those pieces together? Tweak it just a little bit before you add everything back into your full school year. Another big part of this first 2 weeks is time management. I wanted to see how long it was taking my daughters, and very specifically my oldest daughter, because she added in a new literature curriculum, the Mastas Press literature, and it's a lot to have to do. So I wanted to make sure that I got a good grip on time frames. I had a baseline schedule of what we were planning on following, and I'm not like a to the T type of schedule person, but definitely a guide is how it's used. And stick around and make sure you subscribe because I am going to talk about like how I prep for the school year and how I prepare myself for the curriculum, not the curriculum to be used, but me for the curriculum. So make sure you subscribe so you can check that video out coming up as well. So in the process, I want to kind of get a time frame. Like, is it going to take my sixth grader who's using Saxon 8-7 an hour and a half to do a math lesson, or is she going to be able to get one done in 45 minutes? Maybe we need to split the lesson up into a couple of days. My oldest daughter, as far as her literature and all of her ELA components, is this something that's going to take 2 hours of her day versus before she would be done with those components in 45 minutes to an hour? That is the purpose of the first 2 weeks of school for our household, to really kind of get an idea of how those components, math and ELA components, are going to flow before we add in history, science, art, electives, all the things. One thing that we did not add in for the ELA components was writing, but I found a really creative way to incorporate writing within our first 2 weeks. I had both of my daughters do a summary of their summer, my older daughters. They had to do a summary of their summer. They each attended 3 summer camps. So what I had them do was do a 5-paragraph essay. They had their introductory paragraph, they had a paragraph for each of the summer camps, and then they had their summary or closing paragraph. This was a perfect way just to kind of get them back into writing. Also, just so happens that my church was doing an essay contest for all of the children in this age group, and I had my girls submit essays for that. So within the first 2 weeks of school, they did a summer summary. They also did an essay contest at our church. Now, for Maggie, she also went to a STEM camp. The first Friday that we started school was on the 19th of July, which was awesome. That counted as a school day for her, of course. But she was to do a summary for that, and she ended up making that summary 2 pages long, all on her own. I just said, summarize your day, tell me what you learned, all the things. So that was another writing component. So in 3 weeks, or in 2 weeks, all of my girls had, my oldest daughters had 3 writing assignments that they completed. And that's just to kind of get them in the flow of writing again. I was not like heavy on the red pen on their writing, of course. It was more of just a free flowing thing to kind of get their minds flowing. My oldest daughter, her third writing component or assignment was with her Mastas Press literature curriculum. I had her choose one of the writing prompts. They have creative writing prompts at the end of every lesson. So she chose one of those prompts. And so that gave her 3 essays to write as well. And they did wonderful. It was a perfect way to get started. Now, as we continue going, I'm recording this video. When you see it, we will be in our 3rd week of school. My oldest will go into IEW, and then my middle daughter will pick up where she left off with Writing Strands by Master Books. And it was just a really great segue for them, some fun creative writing where they just got to recall all of the amazing things that they did for the summer and camps. And oh, the church essay was about a senior, so someone over the age of 60 who has heavily impacted their lives. My youngest daughter wrote about one of our deaconess at our church, and then my oldest wrote about her grandmother. So it was awesome. Those essays were great. I don't know if they won the contest. They have not finished it all yet, but maybe they will. So we'll see. Some surprises or additions that we had to the first 2 weeks of school. We ordered new windows for the top of our home because it gets really hot. And so we're really trying to eliminate that. And this is after we got a new roof a few weeks prior to that. We were hoping to get the windows in before we started school. But of course, that is not how that happened. The Monday and Tuesday after our first week of school was when windows were placed. That took 2 days. So we actually took one of those days off. And then the other day, we only were able to work like half a day. When your people are putting in windows, you can't leave your house because obviously they have full access to your home with the windows. So we did stay here and we did a little bit of cleaning and all the things, but it worked out great. Another thing is that we actually started volleyball the same day that we started our school on the 15th of July. So we just went back to incorporating volleyball on Mondays and Wednesdays. And that's kind of been our normal thing. We still had basketball going on as well. And we are about to wrap that up here in just a few days. But those were things that were going on that were kind of like, oh, yeah, you got to do these things as well as start school. We had some injuries, guys. My middle daughter, back in June, at the end of June, she fell when she was at the Christian camp and she injured herself. And it turns out that after she kept complaining a little bit and we had iced and rested and all the things, that she ended up having a fracture. So she did fracture her left foot, which takes her out of volleyball per the doctors for the season. She is in a boot currently, but that was a surprise. We were definitely not expecting that at all. And the other surprise is that my oldest daughter, Brenna, as she's preparing dinner in the kitchen, she slices open her knuckle on her right hand with the blade of a cheese grater while she's trying to cut a carrot. So me and my nurse mama went into mode, nurse mode to take care of that situation. However, there was no amount of pressure in raising your arm above your head and all the things to stop that from bleeding. So we did have to take her into urgent care. She got 4 stitches, and I actually just took her stitches out yesterday. Everything looked good, but she has not been able to fully engage in basketball or volleyball in almost 2 weeks. And so those were surprises, y'all. Like, it's just surprises. So for the youngest one, I'm like, let's wrap you up in bubble wrap so that you do not get injured as well. So far, everybody is good. Everyone's healing well. I think the long-term thing with the fracture has kind of been a really big bummer for Maggie because she was super excited to get into volleyball again this year. And there's just a possibility that she will not be able to. Definitely my prayer is that she will heal quickly. And with that healing, maybe she might be able to catch the second half of the season. I don't know. But God is the ultimate healer. We know that He is in control. He will take care of all things. I'm just glad that she's not experiencing any pain. She's healing fine. She's just being an 11-year-old girl, and it's amazing to watch her resilience. So, surprises for the first 2 weeks of school. Who would have thought? So, when it comes to how the girls are doing with their learning and getting into curriculum and things like that, Mallory is doing really, really well. We went back to Logic of English Foundation C. We actually didn't start it until the 2nd week of school, but it was like she picked up where she left off. Her reading was great. I know for a fact that like 4 to 6 week break of not everyday heavy reading really helped her reset, and that she needed that. I needed that as well. But she's doing very, very well. No issues whatsoever. We have not actually started her math curriculum. We have been really working on math facts, reviewing math facts, doing math books. We have a few books up here that she's been like flipping through, and we've been talking about those things. So like more of the hands-on math for her, which her curriculum Math with Confidence Level 2, tons of hands-on opportunities. I'm just kind of really trying to get her back into the groove. I wanted to start us with the reading component and the phonograms and things like that first before we added in the math, but she will be starting her actual math curriculum this week. Also, Brenna, she's doing great. Mastas Press is a little bit of a challenge for her in a good way. It is really stretching her to think differently. She's straightforward in a lot of her thought process. And Mastas Press is not like that when it comes to the comprehension questions. They want you to look at those inferences and try to see what the author is really trying to say about this character and different things that may be inferred by the character. And since they're an animal, what human characteristics have we placed on animals? Just a lot of things. And she did express some frustration, you guys, because she's like, why can't I just answer the question like this, you know? Um, so it's stretching her in a good way. And that was my purpose. I want her to just really start to think outside the box and think a little bit deeper. So she doesn't hate it. She's not like, I hate picking up this curriculum. It just, I think she thought she would be able to just breeze through this the way she has done any other writing, grammar, reading comprehension type of curriculum. And she's not able to do that, which is exactly what I was going for, a challenge in the ELA components and reading for her. It's working and it's great. Maggie is doing really well, you guys, with Saxon 8-7. She's in the 6th grade and she is taking on pre-algebra. She's doing so amazing. I want to say maybe she's like on lesson 15 or so. She has done one test and she got a 95 on it. She has done an investigation and got a 100 on that. All of her grades have been high B's and A's. She's doing really, really good. I was kind of surprised. I was thinking that we may have to slow down. And we may later on as she gets into other aspects of it. But as of right now, she's trucking along with no issues. She did amazing on her 3 essays for the start of the year, which if you know, I'm going to call her was a reluctant writer. um, and she's not showing that anymore, and I'm so grateful for that. I think we've kind of really found a groove with her in what she's enjoying, and this comes with age and maturity as well, you guys. It's not just like all of a sudden they just wake up and everything's perfect, you know, or they look and see the value in everything. It just takes time, and we have to provide them with consistency, encouragement, challenge in order for them to know that they actually can do these things. As for me, I am working on consistency. I have mapped out our schedule for the year. We are doing a little bit of a different schedule. I have a planning video coming out for you guys, so make sure you stick around for that. But mapping out the schedule for the year and really sticking with that schedule. Yes, there are going to be times where someone is sick or things come up, but I definitely, looking back on the year, feel like we took a lot of days where it was just like, you know, kind of one of those things. And we had too many days like that. We just creeped by with 181 days. And as I said, we didn't even finish everything that we needed to. So I'm looking at the schedule a little bit differently, but just making sure that I am being consistent in what we're doing as the teacher and the parent. And really, and some of that is just making sure that I check the girls' work, you know, at the end of the week. They check their own assignments, but go through with it and look at it. And if they have a problem that day, we go over it that day. But I just want to make sure I'm being consistent. Consistently writing down their work in my planner at the end of every day. Having a consistent stop time at the end of the day. That is something that it was kind of like, we just like drag the day on, and there was no like hard stop. And we need those because we do have other things. We have volleyball, we have band, we have speech therapy, we have a lot. So we can't just drag our day on and make it, you know, sun up to sundown kind of thing where we're homeschooling and that's it. We also have home maintenance, which I know everybody does, but for us, it was almost like we didn't have anything to do other than homeschool, and that is definitely not the case for our household. So I'm trying to really be consistent with that. Another thing is getting back into my workouts. I decided that with my husband, we would train for another half marathon, and we will be doing that in March of 2025. And I had to start early because I have not run consistently in several months. And I am consistently getting up 4 days a week. I am following the run plan. I am strength training, and I'm feeling so amazing. So that's the wrap on our first 2 weeks of school.